kabila ndio kwao. Hapo shafika ukweli na hakika, kadiri na shika furaha kwa lahiki. Kwa mashabiki maji kuziki, hip na fiki, hit na dhiki, muda muna wiki, mimi na hiziki, split ni mukiki, kutafuta ziki, kwa makini mfulisi, ya mchima la sili, feel me.
Don't you know we're talking about a revolution song?
Make you think. Unfortunately, we, as the descendants of slaves born in America, having dark skin, thinking we don't do a very good job at. In fact, I truly believe we don't like to think. That's why we're always looking for a savior, because that savior would do all our thinking for us. That savior would do all your fighting for you. The only thing you have to do, sit back and believe and reap the benefits. Unfortunately, that's not how the world operates. That's not reality. If you don't do anything or take it upon yourself to change your condition, then you will stay in your condition. Anything that is alive always moves, always changing, always evolves. And you might see what is alive in the south, but since it can move, now it's in the west. It might be in the east, in the north. But when you're dead, the dead remains where it fell. Wherever a bird or an ant or a person, wherever it died, that's where you will find it. Because it is not alive. It no longer has the energy, the force to move itself or change its condition. This is why the so-called black man and woman in America, we are called mentally dead. You will find us wherever we died. And the only way you can get us to move is when somebody alive. The only time a dead person, a dead animal can move is when something alive moves it. And clearly, this is why we wait on the Savior. The Savior comes and moves the dead, the dry bones. This Savior brings that which once was dead back to life. That's funny because as a so-called people, we don't act, we don't behave, we don't move like somebody who is supposed to be alive. No matter who your God is. Your God can be Allah. Your God can be Yahweh. Your God can be Yahshua. Whatever your God is. When you look at the so-called black people who is depending on this God to bring them back to life, you still find them in a dead state, unable to move, not breathing, in fact, decomposing. Now, what I want to talk about, I don't want my time to expire before I speak about actually what I wanted to bring to us. I was watching a video, and I watch this video over and over again all the time. It's a video by Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan. Well, you're listening to Farrakhan. You're listening to the Nation of Islam as bad as you talk about Minister Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam. What we must understand, when somebody is telling the truth, I'm not saying when I listen to this video that everything that is said I feel is true. But whenever anyone, I don't care what the vessel is, there are people who hate my guts, talk about if I saw Angel Snuffed Up 7 on the street, I'll beat the hell out of it. I still listen to their videos because whether it's Louis Farrakhan, whether it's the people that want to beat me up, they don't own truth. And truth appears in any form. It can come from anywhere. in the book of the Muslims, it talks about Allah. And it says very clearly that Allah uses whom He pleases. It did not say in the Quran that Allah uses the Muslim that He pleases. It says in the Quran, it says in that statement, Allah uses whom He pleases. So if Allah represents truth, then this God is putting His truth or her truth, however you want to view Allah. Allah only means God in Arabic. That truth, I'm going to use whom I choose, whether you like it or not. And if you're so smart, it's up to you to recognize where I put that truth. So I recognize the truth that comes from Louis Farrakhan. I recognize the truth that comes from my enemies. I can recognize that truth. I embrace that truth. Unfortunately, y'all don't know how to do that. Thus, you remain mentally dead, and wherever you have fallen, that's where you remain. You cannot think outside of the casket that you have found yourself in. So I would suggest to you, it's a wonderful video. One of his best speeches is called something about vanity. I forgot the exact title, but it's all in vanity, something like that. Vanity. It's all about vanity. I forgot the year it was produced or whatever, but just look up the word vanity and Louis Farrakhan. I'm pretty sure that y'all will find it. I love the video. I confess that. However, there are always things that we disagree upon, and there was a section where he was talking about that we die and the legacy that we leave behind and how we're going to be remembered. And he was saying something to the fact that we die, the only one who lives forever is God. Well, see, in the Nation of Islam teachings, they teach that God dies. There have been many gods because God is a man. So I don't know, see, that's a contradiction from him based on his own teachings, because they say God does not lie. God does not, I'm tongue-tied. It says in the Nation of Islam teachings that God does die because God is a man. The title of God just passes from one person to the other. Master Farah Muhammad is not the God that created the heavens and the earth. So, you know, you're contradicting your own teaching because God dies. And God dies because God is a belief. If God actually existed, there would be no need to believe. But you believe in God because you don't need facts. You don't need to see anything so that you believe. So since God only exists within the what's the word I'm looking for? Within the dynamics of a belief system, God dies actually when the believer dies. Am I making sense? So God dies because God is a concept, and you have to believe in that God in order for that God to be alive. God is dead with me. I do not acknowledge God at all. So here, God is dead. So you can't say that God can't die, because here there is no belief in God. So God is dead. And if you removed all the people on the planet that believed in God, God would be dead. God would no longer exist. Well, yes, God would. No, God would not exist. There would be no God getting any credit for me being alive, you being alive, the trees, the universe, because that belief is dead, it's gone. We just accept things just the way they are. There is no supreme being that's supposed to exist getting any credit for anything. Thus, God is dead. The only reason why God exists is because we pass on the belief. We keep the belief alive. But once that belief dies, that's the end of God. It's simple as that. And chances are, the belief in God might have died a long time ago. These belief systems, the belief in God, was forced on people. There have been many people who did not get with the belief in God. It was forced on children. It's forced on people. As soon as you are born, they start indoctrinating you on the belief in God, because that's all that it is a belief system, and telling you about God. As soon as we can't even get out of the mother's womb good, they're telling you about this God thing. It's a belief system. You had to believe in the God of the king or the royalty or the rulers. Otherwise, you could be murdered. But now, things are changing. Things are changing, and now you and I are living in a time where, I guess to disbelieve or to not acknowledge the existence of some God is more tolerated. And you live in a more, we live in a more informational, we're not ignorant. Back in the day, you could tell people were not educated. They weren't thinking for self. They allowed preachers and politicians, well, even today we allow politicians and preachers to dictate how we think. But now, there are more and more people thinking for themselves, and they see that something is wrong in these belief systems, so they rejected them. I was watching a news broadcast, and basically they were saying that more and more people are leaving religion and so-called, well, they call it, some people, I'm spiritual, but I don't care about religion. All of it needs to go. It's all the same kind of stuff. It don't make, I'm spiritual. What's the difference between spirituality and being religious? It's all the same type of stuff. It's basically the same. Tomato, tomato. There is no difference. Because you got to believe. It's all based in belief and having faith in something that you never saw or met. And clearly, this God has no power. We who are the descendants of slaves born in America, having dark skin, you have been waiting on this God. You have been waiting on this Savior. And it has yet to change your condition. Then some of you say that the black man is God. And we need a divine intervention. Well, if that's what makes things divine, a connection to God. If the black man or black people are gods, that makes you divine. You're not intervening in your own affairs. In other words, you got to do it. You got to change. You got to intervene in your own life. If you're the God, and since you're not, you're waiting on another God. How? Gods don't pray to God. Then you are a God. Then you pray to God. Gods don't pray to gods, because you're on the same level. Football players respect other football players, but hell, I'm a football player too. I'm a basketball player too. I'm a police officer just like you are a police officer. We're the same. Why would, if you are a God, why would you pray to a God to come save you? Where's your, see the whole thing, it is a good thing, and you will see that you will be better off when God dies. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. I am the gatekeeper or the host of this program, known here on social media. I am known here on social media as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I am your soul brother number 1 and your friend Taalik Ibn'rad. Wow. Now, I would hope to make this rant video. Welcome to a Angel Snub 7 rant video. I would like to make this video 15 minutes. I want to get everything that I would like to say within 15 minutes. So I'm going to be moving a little bit fast. Keep up, please. Bear with me. I just want to make these points. If I go a little bit long and this commentary gets cut short, then please feel free to find the conclusion on one of my longer posts. Okay. Things that make you say, oh wow, this is a rant video. I want to start off by saying, don't call me that African thing. Don't call me, I am not a damn African. Don't call me that. First of all, I don't like people trying to force things on me. Don't tell me I'm an African. If I tell you I'm not an African, or it seems as though I'm rejecting what you talk about, don't try to force that stuff on me. As descendants of slaves born in America, having dark skin for over 400 years, going on 500 years, that's all that has been done to us. Somebody always trying to force something or someone on us. Sick of that. Might as well just go back to physical slavery. It's already bad enough. We have Caucasian people. They have forced their will, their way of life, whatever it is on their mind, they have forced it on the children of slaves. But now you have these black folks, so-called black folks. I call us the lost people of soul. The descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin. Lost in the mind. The key thing to this is you're lost. Lost is the key. Meaning you don't know. If I lost my keys, I have no idea where they went. That's what made them lost. You don't know. Back in the day, when we were told we were Africans, we just accepted it because we don't know. And we were very ignorant. And it's amazing to me that the first person that told us we're Africans is the pink European American racist. At the same time, y'all tell me the white man is the devil. And the devil is a master deceiver. The devil is a master manipulator. Yeah, well, if that's true, then why, when he tell you that all of us came from Africa, you said, yeah, he's telling the truth about that. But you're not questioning the people who are master liars, manipulators, and deceivers. Things that make you say, So in the beginning of our sojourn in this country, especially when our people became free, physically free, there was an attempt to find some type of identity. Some of them just accepted being Americans. Some wanted to find out, just like any child would like to know, who are my parents? Where did I come from? There's nothing wrong with that. But there's something wrong if you are guided to that by something that maybe the intent was not to harm you, but it's not true. It's not totally accurate. This is not to say, I want to make something very clear. This is not to say some of us don't have, some of us do have origins. Our ancestors came from that continent. In fact, all humanity technically are Africans. African is not a people. Africa is a continent. It's a place. It's a geographical location. So how am I going to be a geographical location? Stop trying to force your crap on people. You want to be African? That's your business. Don't tell me or anybody else we're African. We might not agree. I don't agree with this because there are too many questions. There's too many things that's out here, and you offer an answer, but your answer is not sufficient because most of your answers don't make any sense. They only please you because you want to believe that you're an African, just like somebody wants to believe they are Christian, they believe in Jesus or Allah or whoever the God of the month might be. I don't call us Africans. I always say the descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin. This can fit any type. People, all types of people from various places can fall into this category. I'm not going to call you an African, so you can't get angry at me when it comes to calling us some specific, putting a specific label or name on us. The information that is coming out now, they did not have during slavery. They did not have in the 60s, or if it was available, it was not made known. I remember when people first approached me and told me, you know, all of us not African. I was like you. Yes, I was like you. And I defended the position that all of us who have dark skin, the progeny of slaves born in America, all of us, we are Africans. And I defended that, just like many of you do. And as many of you know, I do a pretty good job of defending my position. The problem with being able to defend your position, and you're good at it, is what if you're wrong? And that is something that I have what is the word I'm looking for? But that is a concern of mine, because this ministry does not represent half-truths, lies, things that make you feel good. I understand that truth can hurt. And for me, if we are Africans, I can accept that. There's no, oh, you're a self-hater. You have not proven anything. I'm a hater of self. What is self? What are you talking about? There are many questions that have arisen that you fail to answer, that you actually ignore. And so in the beginning, when people began, they would approach me, we who are dark-skinned in America called black, we may have origins outside of Africa, other dark-skinned people from certain islands, and in fact, this is the kicker. We are the real Native Americans. We are the copper-looking, you cannot go by an appearance, because we have been mixed with Africans, because they did import African people and we did interbreed with them. we also interbred with the slave master. However, something that I always questioned, and that was when I looked at my own family, some of the older pictures, and when I looked at somebody like Geronimo, those Native American people in the history book, they were very dark-skinned people. Now, mind you, these pictures are black and white, so you really can't see exactly their whole skin tone. You really can't see that. And we do know what they call Native Americans today is nothing but a group of mulattoes. These are not the original Native American people. There's a lot of questioning here. There is a benefit to races that you and I believe that we're nothing but Africans. Because if we're nothing but Africans, then just like what you're doing, you're looking to that continent. I want to go back to Africa. I want to return to African spirituality. I want to learn black conscience. So you're looking thousands and thousands of miles away from here when you are native, and you and I could be, as a possibility, we are the sons and daughters of the native people right here. Never came from no Africa. Again, some of us have, but it looks as though, and mathematics tell us that it is impossible. When you look at the slave population and how it grew so fast and what it takes for boats and ships to go to Africa, they can only bring a certain amount at a time. A female can only have a baby once every 9 months, and then a woman, when she is under trauma, like the slave woman female was under, her chances of having a miscarriage is higher. There's a lot of factors here that don't make any sense. But we were sold a story by our scholars. And a scholar is only seeking to find information to support the story that you begin to believe. If you told the scholars right now, if you told our educated historians right now that it's a possibility that we are the Native American, the real Native Americans, I guarantee you they'll begin to look deeper than the story that the slave master and his children told us. And they may find that what is being said is true. I cannot deny, looking at my own personal family photos, when I look at the faces of some of my relatives, they look just like the faces of Geronimo and these Native American people, the Sioux and the Cherokee and people like that. How can I just ignore that and talk about we are just Africans? And again, Africa is a continent. It is not a group of people. It's a continent. It has no DNA. I'm going to make a video later speaking about that. It's a continent. So you have Africa, that's a continent, which consists of over 50 nations, all types of tribes. I'm an African. Well, I'm a European. What kind of European am I? I'm Italian. I'm from the Czech Republic. I'm French. What kind of African are you? You always say, I'm African. What kind of African are you? The slave master, the racists who also promoted and pushed this story, they just keep telling you, you African. What African are you? Let's be specific. Since I'm not going to make that claim I'm African, because if I make that claim I'm African, I'm going to be specific and tell you that I'm a Zulu, I'm from Ghana, my people from Ghana, I'm a Somali, or whatever. I'm going to be specific. Oh, that's African, but you being specific. Why aren't these people specific? I want to raise this question to Dr. Umar Johnson, who is a Pan-Africanist. How you say that? Why aren't you specific about where you come from, who your people are? You cannot put 50 nations, countless tribes. You can't put all of this in one bottle. Africa is too much. It's too much diversity, too many varieties of people, too many languages, too many customs and cultures. You can't put all that in one bottle like when they wear a dashiki. A dashiki is supposed to represent Africa. That dashiki cannot represent Africa. Africa is too much for one dashiki. The dashiki can only represent a specific people, a specific nation, a specific tribe, or an individual. You cannot put Africa in one bottle. It's too much. Do you know why? You won't be specific about your Africanism. You will only say, I'm an African. I'm an African this. I'm a proud African. We need to return back to our African spirituality. What is that? What African spirituality? There are countless belief systems on the continent. There are countless different spiritual systems. You can't put it all in one bottle. What you're saying, what you're presenting to us don't make sense. Back in the day, it makes sense because our people were more ignorant. There were very few people who had learned how to think for themselves. Most of us, we just accept things because they sound good. Oh, we Africans, and the Africans did this, and the Africans, ancient Kemet and Ethiopia, and they did so much. So it makes us feel good. This is not about feeling good. This is about acceptance of your reality, acceptance of the truth. Point blank. I'm not concerned about feeling good. And as most of you know, truth can sometimes hurt. Truth does not, well, I'm not going to say that truth does not hurt me. In this case, it does not hurt me at all. Again, I was just like you. From a child, I was taught, we Africans, we black people, we Africans. I have a problem with black, I have a problem with Africa, because these labels, these descriptions, there are no dark-skinned people on this planet that ever call themselves black. Show it to me. Y'all historians, and you know so much. Who are the dark-skinned people that call themselves black? Black is a product of races. After they conquered the dark-skinned people on the continent of Africa and around the earth, they created black because black comes from out of their race system. So does Africa. They renamed the earth. The races renamed the whole planet. Not only the continent of Africa, they renamed the earth. This planet was not always called the earth. So they renamed everybody. So why wouldn't they? What makes you think that the native people that was here, dark skinned, that might look similar to Africans, why wouldn't they call them Africans too? Except they are just in different geographical locations. The reason why you won't call yourself something African and be specific about it is because if you call yourself Zulu, see, you can control African. You can make Africa, you can make this African thing any way you want. But if you call yourself Zulu, there are actual living Zulus living on the continent today. And if you don't carry yourself like a Zulu, they will tell you quick that he's not Zulu. He does not practice Zulu customs. He does not speak Zulu language. You're not Zulu. You don't say that you're from Ghana or Somalia, Rhodesia, Liberia, any other people that's on the continent. You don't be specific, because these people are alive and they will challenge you, and you want to be able to control this African thing. But if you return to Africa, they will show you who is in control. Let's go back to Africa. You go back to Africa, you will be under their laws, their policy, their customs, and all this that goes along with it. But as long as you're outside of Africa, the Africans, you can play this game. And that's why many of you talk that stuff. I'm going back. You're not going to go nowhere. And the sad thing about it is, when you expire and you cremate your body, or you put your body, your lifeless body, in a casket, you're not even going to have your body sent to be your ashes spread on African soil, or your body buried somewhere in Africa. This is how hypocritical and fake y'all are with your African self. Yes, you are an African, because an African is a product of races, confused as hell. There's a reason why in the Nation of Islam we were called lost. And you accept this story by the racists that we're all Africans. And other information, valid, credible information. I was against it at first, but I am not against the truth. When I first heard it, it didn't make any sense to me. But unlike you out here in social media land, you become loyal to whatever you decide. I don't believe in nothing, because I understand that what I say today, it might not be true tomorrow, because information is steady coming forth. So as I began to look at my own personal history, and I began to research the information presented by those who are making the claim that all so-called African American people don't have an African ancestry, it began to make sense. Yeah. So the position that you find me in, if you go back and look at some of my past videos, even in my talk, it was sort of questionable, even back then. Because for me, if you are African or whatever we was, we are not that anymore anyway. So it really makes no difference. It's like a person who never knew their parents. It's nice that you do in some time, in some point in your life, that you discover who your parents were, but you are not them. The true knowledge of self is understanding who you are and what you become. Your father is a bricklayer. Your mother is a teacher. Does that mean you want to be a bricklayer or a teacher? No. And the reason why you may not want to be a bricklayer or a teacher is because it's not you. The knowledge of self, that's not me. It was nice that my mother was a teacher and my father was a bricklayer. I'm not feeling that. That's not me. The knowledge of self is easy. So when you look at that, or you look at this from the view of being a people, and we are not a people either, when the slaves were made free, they did not gather together to become a people. This group went that way. This group went this way. And we have never been a people. We always been groups. We are in tribes. We don't view ourselves as a family, because if we viewed ourselves as a family, the possibility of so-called black unity would have been made a long time ago. But we were made into tribes. And another thing is that when the slaves were made free, remember the slave master would sell biological children and put them over here, sell the father, put the father over there, buy all this biological stuff is out the window. So when the slaves became free, and I was a child, another adult slave might take me under his wing and say, look, well, you know, you'll be my son, but I am not his biological child. So a new family begins, and none of the people are biologically related. And even after that, we still do some of that right now to this day. We become very attached to a brother or a sister, and we may call that sister my auntie. She is not your aunt. She's just a good friend. This person is so close to me, I call him my father. He's not your father, but he's the only father you've ever known. So it's not even biological. Why are you tripping about? We are beyond biology. I am going to say that again. We have become beyond biology. Man, it's wonderful when you know it. When you understand what is going on. We have to separate ourselves from the old. In religious texts, it talks about how God makes all things new and allow the former things to pass away. The thing about life, the thing about evolution, is that when life dies, it dies so that the next generation can become a little better than that which was in the past. Why are you trying to return to something that was destroyed? It didn't make it. It couldn't handle the pressure. And you want to return back to African spirituality and the African spirituality and all that which encompassed this Africanness that y'all talk about. All of it was a failure. All of it was conquered. And you want to return back to be, well, I guess y'all a bunch of losers. So you want to go back to the original place where the loss started, because you are lost. I cannot ignore, unlike you, I cannot ignore the new information. I'm not interested, and I am not loyal to some belief system, some type of thought. I'm only interested in finding out what is really true. I have no problem if the human being, if we evolved from monkeys, I have no problem with that. It makes me no difference. So what? But some of y'all, I ain't come from no monkey. Some of y'all act worse than monkeys do. Monkeys don't smoke weed. Monkeys don't watch pornography. Monkeys ain't lesbians. Monkeys ain't gay. Monkeys don't get high. Monkeys don't do drive-bys. You do things worse than a monkey. So I don't see why. Actually, you are insulting the monkey. You're making the monkey look bad. Because the monkey is none of those things. Look how you have fallen. And you talk about, I ain't come from no monkey. What difference does it make? I make all things new. So whatever you was, African or you came from an island or whatever, if you are a descendant of slaves, born in America, having dark skin, it makes no difference what your origins are. You must accept who and what you became today. One thing for sure, you're not a European, and you do not want to be like your oppressors. That you do want to reject. But you also are not like those whom you came from. Especially you never knew them. How are you going to be like your bricklayer father when you never knew who the man was? You don't know what color his eyes is. You don't know how tall he was. You don't even know why he's laying brick. You don't know nothing. And your mother, that's a teacher, you never knew her. You an orphan, you're just out here. So when you are orphan, or when you have become abandoned, and you have no family, you have to start from scratch. And you start all over again, and you recreate it again. And there's nothing wrong with that. And whatever information that you can find, you can put it in certain spots. But you are not and never will be them. They are gone. They are dead and gone. It's over for them. You are new. Every time a child is born, that child is new. There has never been a baby on this planet like this child. This child is new. However, the child, the makeup, the physical makeup of the child is made up of things that have been here for millions and billions and trillions of years. The same dirt, the same water, the same minerals, the same, it's all the same. It's been recycled. You and I are a recycled people born from that which was murdered, that which is dead. That's why we were called Negro. I was taught in the Nation of Islam that in the Greek you can interchange when you spell Negro, Negro. In the Greek, the G is interchangeable with the C and the K, which makes it necro. Necro means dead. Necrology is the study of the dead. Negro also in Spanish means black. You black and you dead. The Negro, you the product of Caucasian races. You are a brand new, we are a brand new people made up out of recycled material from that which was destroyed. But y'all, because you really don't understand what the knowledge of self is, you're trying to go back to a place where you've never been. If you went back to Africa, any part of Africa right now, you will be viewed as a stranger, a foreigner. Almost anybody will see, can tell that you don't belong there. It would be generations. It would be generations before your family would be accepted by the people on that continent because you don't fit. You know you don't fit. It just sounds good. I'm an African. I'm an African this and I'm an African that. That's all it's about with the so-called Negro in America. Just give us things that sound good. I'm not interested in that, and that's why many of you stay the hell away from me, because I'm going to bring this story to you. I'm going to bring this information to you as factual and as real as it can get, because in the long run, being real is the best thing for us, even though it might hurt. It's the best thing for us. You don't want to be a new people. You want to be something that's Been there, done that. You want to be proud. I'm a proud African. Because you can take somebody else's leftovers and you can rehash and refabricate. I want fresh food. When you go to a restaurant, and you can tell the different restaurants, you go to some restaurants, they cook the food and they put it under heat lamps and all this kind of good stuff. Then you can go to some restaurant and the food is cheap. But then you go to some restaurants, everything is fresh. The fish was just caught today. Some of these restaurants, they have their own garden and they fresh vegetables and seasonings and all this kind of good stuff. And you pay for it. But I guess, see, we love McDonald's and we love Wendy's and Burger King. We are a fast food type of people. You want something fast. Give me African spirituality. Give it to me fast. I want something now. I can't wait for the truth. I'm a black Muslim now. I'm a Hebrew Israelite now. I want it now. This is who I am now. Because it sounds good. It tastes good. Cheap food. Good food. You take your time. Let it simmer. It's not under heat lamps. And it costs more. It's not rehashed. It's not fabricated. It's new. But of course, in the fast food realm, you have all these chemicals and poisons and preservatives. You know about fast food. And the sad thing about it, you claim your religion, your political beliefs is fast food, but you trying to eat healthy. And I don't see you living no longer than anybody else. I don't see you doing no better than anybody else. Because it's like an obese person drinking a diet soda. I don't mean to hurt our feelings. That's not the purpose of this ministry called the Reality Temple on Earth. That's not the purpose. Is to hurt your feelings. See, you have people that prey on us because they know we want to know. Just like this African DNA test. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about charlatans. When your loved one dies and you become in grief, there are people who take advantage of the fact that you still want to be with your loved ones. So they trick you and you pay your money because you want to see mama again, you want to see daddy again, a cousin or uncle or a friend. And they take you into this dark room and they use all these little tricks. There are people that can take a quarter, put it right in your face, snap their finger, and the quarter will disappear, and they reach behind your ear, and there's the quarter. It's the same thing with this African DNA stuff that y'all follow. You giving these people thousands and billions, millions of dollars or whatever, because they know you want to be an African. And Africa is a continent. It cannot give you DNA. Then they tell you what tribe you came from. A tribe does not have DNA. The only thing that the only place where you can get DNA is from a species of life. They can take the DNA of this horse and they can tell that it's different from another horse. But they both horses. They cannot tell you. Now, based in the DNA, they can tell you, they might be able to locate a specific geographical place. But they can't tell you, well, this horse was raised on old McDonald's farm, and this horse was raised on old Lucy's farm. And that's what they're telling you in these DNA tests. You part Zulu, and you part this African tribe. And a brother told me he came from 13 maybe different African tribes. They know you want to hear this. Well, how do they know? They don't know me. They don't have to know you. They know, the only thing they need to know is, or have a basic information that's common to all. And you fall for it. Because you just want to know. You're not thinking. You cannot get DNA out of a specific tribe. You cannot get DNA out of a continent. A continent is nothing but some soil. A tribe could be this moment and then get conquered and it changes. The DNA will stay the same. So how do you know? See, brothers and sisters, it just don't make any sense. You continue to allow yourself to be exploited and tricked. And they do this because they know you want to know. This is how the preachers get over. And you will die and go to heaven and telling you all these fantastical stories, telling you all this DNA and all this, because they know that's what you want to hear. It's a trick. And you happy to give your money to these charlatans, Caucasian or black, whatever they are. They are liars. This has been going on for who knows how long. Make all things new. You have become a brand new people. Learn and accept who and what we become. And create a whole new reality for yourself instead of trying to go backwards to a place you never was. Regardless